we go. Have fun.
Wow. It's wonderful to see you. Welcome to Sow-wen. I dressed for the occasion a little differently this year because I'm officiating a wedding. And you know, when we do such things, we like to dress for the occasion. So, cheers and welcome. If you're new, what have you arrived for? Well, perhaps one of the most special ceremonies of this year. I'm delighted to have you. And I have a lot to tell you tonight. Now, technically, let's be technical. First of all, I'm Athena, the founder of Sage Goddess, and I've been doing this for 12 years. But I've been practicing since I was 15, and I'm 50. So you're in really good hands. Technically, last night was Samhain. Sow-wen in Gaelic means summer's end. And that is the final harvest. That means all the crops of the year have been taken in. Tonight is technically All Saints' Day. It's wonderful to see you. And so All Saints' Day honors the ancestors that we have who have most dearly departed us from this world, but still live in the etheric realms, and we honor them tonight. Tomorrow is All Souls' Day. Well, what is that? Well, the young souls who have departed too soon. And then, in my experience, round about November 7th, all the dead go to the dead. The living decide we're going to stay here. And then boop boop a doop, it's Thanksgiving. That's kind of how this time of year goes. So Los Dias de los Muertos are upon us, but even if that isn't your tradition, in the Celtic pathway, we honor this transition too. To those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, Lammas. Anyone in the Southern Hemisphere celebrating Beltane today? I think a couple members of Team SG are. So cheers and brightest burning of the bale fires to those of you in the Southern Hemisphere below the equator who are celebrating the other portal. So Sow-wen is the portal of the dead. That's what we're celebrating tonight. And Beltane is the portal of life. So you're either celebrating life or death tonight, depending on whether you live above the equator or below the equator, and we're just celebrating all the things. Some of you have birthdays coming up. Cheers to all of our Scorpios. We see you, and we celebrate you too. Are you ready for a celebration tonight? And also, so let me be clear. And I actually don't have the art to show you because the grid is set up. If there's an extra canvas around with Hades and Persephone on it, Team SG, I'm so sorry I didn't ask you before. Just to show them. If not, no worries. Tonight we are celebrating a mythological love story. And I'm going to tell you the love story to begin. And then what I'm going to tell you is, tonight is, we've called it the Black Wedding. And that's because it is in mythology. Hades and Persephone, who was a very lonely king of the underworld, and Persephone, who was a very beautiful queen of spring, fell in love. As I tell the story, some people say she was kidnapped. I think she went of her own free will and fell in love with a beautiful soul who represented the other half, the deeper duality of her wisdom. And so that's how I choose to tell the story. I am Greek, so I feel like I can take ownership of mythology. That's actually not a true thing. It's sort of like saying because you come from a certain country, you can take control of the stories. That's not true. But because I am Greek, I take a little more ownership than most people do over Greek mythology. So I'm going to tell the story my way tonight. I also officiated other weddings in my past, and I'm proud to tell you that every couple I've officiated for is still married. So cheers to all the beloveds. I don't know where this cloak is from, actually, and I'm so sorry I can't tell you, but I bet if you search on Amazon and search moon phase cloak, you'd probably find something like it. I just don't know where mine is from. It's very old. That's right. I think Vanya did make it, actually. It's so old, I don't remember where it came from. So Vanya, if this is from you, I can't remember, but I apologize in advance. It's been in my closet for how many years now. So, but I adore it, and I'm so grateful for it. Now I get to give you credit. Okay, you ready? Now, in Greek mythology, one day there was a beautiful maiden, and she was in the fields, and it was high spring. And she was so lovely, and she was out picking flowers. She was picking pomegranates, and she was picking marigolds, and she was picking roses. And she was the daughter of Demeter, who is the earth goddess, okay? And so as she goes, she's picking flowers, and all of a sudden someone sees her picking flowers, because you know, we never fall in love when we're looking for love. We fall in love when we are already in love with life and someone happens upon us. So as it goes, did you not make it? I don't know where it came from. I really don't. But I was ready to give you credit for it, Vanya, so just take it. Anyway, as it goes, Hades, the king of the underworld, came up to the higher realms and saw this beautiful young woman picking her flowers and fell in love. And so he tempted her. Let's imagine how this went, okay? Hi, darling. Hey. Hey, Loki, you are hot. Oh, thanks. Just out here picking flowers. NBD. Well, it's NBD, but you're hot. And so, I don't know. Would you like some candy, little girl? What kind of candy are you talking about? Well, it's not candy, it's a pomegranate. But it's this really sweet, wonderful fruit. Would you like some? It's a warm day and maybe you need to be refreshed. Well, that looks wonderful. What do I do with a pomegranate? Oh, well, you open it, and inside the pomegranate there are seeds. Would you like to eat some? Ah, they look so delicious. These are garnets. I would love some seeds. Oh, tell me more. Wow, you're so divine. No, keep eating. You're so divine. Oh, thank you so much. I was just out here picking my flowers and Well, how many seeds did you eat? Well, 6. Well, would you like to come home with me? I would. Well, but my mother, the earth goddess, she would be worried. I mean, Loki, you're so hot. And I'm so flattered. And I don't know, it would be fun to go back to your place, but my mother's out here and, I'm supposed to tell her where I go. Oh, well, go ahead and tell her that you ate 6 seeds, and so you're going to come home with me for 6 months. 6 months? Okay, well, it's March. So you can come home to her. Sorry, it's October. It's October. So, this is happening at Halloween. So you can come back to her in March. Oh, okay. So anyway, hey, Mom. So this really hot dude just gave me this pomegranate, and I ate some of it. So it's October, but he says so now I have to go back with him for 1 month for every seed I ate, but I can come back in March. Is that okay? Except she apparently didn't tell her mom, so she just ate the seeds and left, which teenagers are apt to do. And all of a sudden she was gone. So the mythology goes, Demeter panics and goes, my daughter's missing, and starts pounding the earth, right? So my version is, low-key, I'm going to go be in the underworld for 6 months. No big deal. I'll be back in March. The low-key, I'm going to go be there for 6 months. I'll be back. He's hot. The traditional version is, oh my God, I got kidnapped. Now I can't come back until March. So you can decide which version you like. Tonight, what we're choosing to do is acknowledge that this isn't so much about Persephone and Hades, and this isn't about Demeter, who pounded the earth and then said, all of you are going to have winter now because I'm so sad that my daughter is gone, and I'm so mad, and until Hades brings her back, you're going to have 6 months of cold weather and longer nights, and that's my punishment to the planet because he took my daughter. And then in March, I'll give you spring, and I'll let life come back to the planet as soon as she comes back. That's the story, okay? My story is, there's a union here. Now, tonight what we're doing, and I want you to really stop thinking about the mythology for a minute. I had to tell you the story because, and I always flippy floppy, like when she goes down and when she comes back, but she goes down in October and she comes back in March. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, it's actually flip-flop for you too, so maybe I'm like a Southern Hem person. For tonight, what I want you to imagine is, actually, this is you. Every mythology has this story. The big bad wolf, Red Riding Hood, right? Oh, there's this, oh, I'm so innocent. And here's this really naughty thing that's going to come and take me away. The reality is we are all super innocent and young and youthful and maidens, and we all have a side of us that is a little bit ready for some magic, a little bit like wanting to play on the other side of things, right? And so I've been this and I've been that. Maybe you've been this and maybe you've been that. So tonight is not so much a wedding between these two, which ultimately when she went, she was the princess of spring and she became the queen of the underworld. It was an upgrade. And Robin said, I think she told her mom she was kidnapped. But, you know, there's 1,000 versions of this legend, right? It's mythology. So there's some versions where she was like, Mom, Mom. And there's other versions where she was like, Mama, right? He's a magic man. Do you remember that song by Heart? So there's different versions of this story. And honestly, tonight, it's not our work to understand whether she wanted it or didn't want it, right? This is our work tonight, is to figure out, hear me in this moment, okay? You are this and you are that. You are the divine feminine, you are the divine masculine. You have a light side that's super fun and playful and innocent and beautiful and youthful, and you have a side that can be vengeful and resentful and tempting and seductive and cross boundaries and cross borders. You have this and you have that. You have this and you have that. Are we clear? That's what tonight's about. If you like this idea that you are this and you are that, then what we're doing tonight is we are marrying you to yourself. It's a wedding of Hades and Persephone, but it's also, mythology is all about telling you about you, right? All of these stories are designed to tell you that there's a little bit of Red Riding Hood in you and there's a big bad wolf inside of you. And what grows and what becomes powerful and what takes the the lead role in the play of your life depends on which wolf you feed, right? Which side are you on? Sometimes we're way more Hades. Vengeful, seductive, sexy. Hey little girl, would you like a pomegranate? And sometimes we are way more Persephone. I don't know, I'm just picking flowers and I've never been here before. This is my first rodeo, right? And then sometimes we're right in the middle, which is Demeter, right? Gaia. There's like I said, every mythology has this too. If you're a Gemini, I don't have to tell you how this goes because you live with dual personalities. The rest of us kind of spend most of our time in one place or the other. And this has nothing to do with mythology as much as it has to do with you deciding that ultimately you are going to love both of these parts of you. You're going to love the youthful, beautiful, flower-picking, innocence-indulging, childhood-believing part of you. And you're also going to love this sexy night creature who says, hey, would you like some seeds? Because if you don't have that part of yourself, I don't know, for me, I have this part of myself like, hey, take a bite, right? I have this part of myself. I would not be truthful with you if I didn't tell you I have that part. Want to bite it? And then I have that part of me that's like, oh no, this is so weird. And then I have that part of me that's like, but you know you want it. Why don't you eat 6, right? So there's both parts, and that's what Sow-wen is about, is if you're ready, tonight we're going to marry the two sides of you together. Do you have any questions? That is why you are here. And I am your officiant in chief. I don't know. My mom told me not to eat seeds. Oh, but these are good seeds. By the way, we have worksheets for you. It is the alchemical marriage. I don't have great voices for these two, but you get the story, right? Like, no, okay. Oh, come on. Now, our tools for tonight, which I'm going to show you. Nope, wrong camera. Our tools for tonight. We are going to be activating your grid. If you got the tools for tonight, I'm going to take all my ancillary products out of the camera. I'm wearing a cape, but if you're not, you could be wearing your crown. And I will probably take my cape off at some point and put on the crown so you can see it. We're going to be blending incense tonight with all of our herbs, which are your mako and mint, which is going to make this burn on its own, your myrrh, and your cypress and roses, which is for death and passion. And we're going to be putting that in our jar. We're going to be blending that with our Forbidden Desires perfume. You also have your Black Wedding perfume, your candle, and then if you got your Month of Magic tools for October, you might choose to also be working with your garnet tonight, which links you to the underworld. And you could put all of your, ready? 1, 2, 3. I love this. 4, 5, 6. See you in spring. See you in spring, Persephone. Cheers. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah, those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, Beltane has come and gone because you are ahead of us on the Great Wheel of Time. And I'm going to tell you, what is this? These are fruit from my garden that did not survive the harvest. So this is a pomegranate from my pomegranate tree that was dying on the vine. And this is a peach from my peach tree that did not make it through the harvest that I picked with my students yesterday. So Sow-wen is the last harvest. It's the harvest of the dead and things that did not make it. We have some of the things available still for you at SageGoddess.com, and Karen and Jared and Team SG who are live will let you know what's still available because it was kind of a cool set. And if you have your wedding ring, you can put it on your finger. I'm not, I'm officiating tonight, so you can't be both an officiant and a bride. So I'm not a bride tonight. I'm an officiant for the wedding. Yeah, if you ordered the grid, you should have the grid stones. But if you did not, if you just got the kit, it didn't come with the grid stones. That was a separate offering. So some of you got both and some of you didn't. It sold out really fast. So don't worry. And if you didn't get the grid set, you can use your own tools and Karen and Jared will guide you. We are doing the grid tonight. Are you ready? Yeah, the grid set was separate. Karen will advise you. Karen is in the feed right now and she will advise you about all of that. Okay. So this is your wedding. This is your integration. By the way, I'm wearing the necklace tonight that is the Enter to Win for Yule. So that'll be kind of fun. And if you didn't see my live today, you can always go back to Facebook and watch that later. And I'll tell you more about it at the end of our time together tonight. Now, I'm going to give you, on our worksheets are some really fun questions, but I'm going to give you some other questions tonight that I want you to think about before we begin while I burn some herbs and open our circle. Yeah, most of you got both sets, but if you only got one set, you got a lot, but you did not get the grid set, which is okay. Work with what you have. This is what we do. So I'm going to burn some white sage. I'm also going to burn some white sage with a little dragon's blood tonight because that's always on time for Sow-wen. I know. I always laugh because I'm like, I'm the sage goddess and I don't have a lighter. I always forget. We always forget to test the lighters before I go live. Well, I got enough white sage smoke to go. Heads up for our team that I'm out of fire. But I have enough white sage for you and me both. There's a little bit of white sage to clear the space. And I always like to bring it over the tools too. So just a little bit over the... It's still a big, heavy holiday period. And All Saints Day is big, right? The ancestors are coming back. And if you look over my shoulder, you can see the marigolds there. What does marigold represent? Well, marigolds have a smell. If you've never smelled them, it's so beautiful. That attracts the dead, the souls of the dead, to come back home. And if you're like me, you put out little sweets and treats. I put out a couple of little things this morning. I put out a shot glass of Amaretto di Serrano for my mom. She loved it. She didn't really like alcohol, but she loved a little sip of Amaretto di Serrano. And I still have the bottle that I bought for her about 10 years ago sitting on my shelf. So I poured the little Amaretto di Serrano for her today. And I ordered a sweet roll from her favorite bakery. And I put a little bite out for her today. So we leave little sweets and treats for the ones who've crossed that we miss. So that's what I did for my mom today, with little marigolds and all the things. So if you're missing one of your beloveds today, it's nice to think about what did they really enjoy and appreciate, and just leave a little bite out for them. It made my heart so happy because I do not like Amaretto di Serrano. I don't take it personally if you love it, but it's just not my jam. I don't enjoy it. I'm not really an almond person. So it has been sitting there full, you know, except for her little shots that she would take. So when I poured it today, I'm like, it's so wonderful to have a use for my little amaretto because I don't like it. But I will never throw that bottle out, so it's still there. And I've been telling her all day, but I miss you, Mom. Oh, I miss you. Oh, I miss you. We miss them so much, you know? They say it gets easier. I will just tell you that has not been my experience. It gets different. I had a really good mom. She's irreplaceable. But I talk to her all the time. And I miss her. I miss her so much. But she's around right now. She's been pretty chatty, so stay tuned. If you haven't heard from your ancestors, maybe you should wait a minute. Just listen. She always tells me, shut up and stop talking. You need to listen. And I can still hear her going, you would hear me if you would just shut up. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I would hear her more if I just shut up. Thank you. Okay, so this is your wedding tonight. This is your integration. And these are the questions I want to ask you tonight. And it would be great if you, and I say this with all the love and respect in the world, would be quiet for a minute. The teacher in me wants you to stop. You can keep chatting in the feed if you want to, but it would be really nice if you took a minute just to think about these questions or write them down and answer them later. But this came to me for you today, and I thought maybe you'd like to think about these questions for just a minute. I don't normally do this. Are you ready? Question number 1. Where in your life, here, listen to the whole question, okay? Where in your life could you have done better in the past? And can you improve now? Big questions tonight. Where in your life could you have done better in the past? I know that's hard to think about, but you can still improve now. Next big question. Who or what do you need to forgive? Not giving any advice, just asking a question. Who or what do you need to forgive? Remembering that holding on to stuff doesn't hurt the other person, it only hurts us. Next question. Where do you want to be forgiven, and by whom? Big question. Where do you want to be forgiven? And by whom? Yeah, and some of you are like, me or you or whatever. You know what I will tell you? Like, the one thing I've learned, and I've learned this as someone who has forgiven and has not been offered that gift by others in some cases. I truly do not hold stuff. I really don't. And I've been through some weird shit. I don't. My mom used to say, Athena, you forgive too easily. Someone will really do some weird shit to you, and all of a sudden you're like, it's okay. And she's like, really think about that. And I said to her, I'm following your teachings to forgive easily. I'll repeat them when I'm done. I don't hold anything. If you're holding something and you do not forgive someone, well, you did this and you did that. I really went through last night and did this exercise myself. And if you want an exercise tonight, I'm going to give it to you, but you got to be ready for it. Are you ready? If you're not going to do it tonight, when the F are you going to do it? So, but if you're not ready, you don't do it, okay? Who would you like to invest more time in while they are still alive? Big question. If you have regrets for people who died and you're like, I coulda, woulda, shoulda, who would you like to give more time to? And what are you doing with that time now? How can you redirect it? Big question. Here's the last question. What parts of yourself do you want to spend more time with and get to know better? Dun, 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 dun. If someone's still alive and you want to spend more time with them, guess what? What are you doing tonight? Tomorrow. Okay, let me ask you one more time. Where in your life have you fallen short or made mistakes? What would you do to change it? Who do you need to forgive? And where do you want to be forgiven? Who would you like to invest more time in while they're still alive? What parts of you do you want to get to know better or spend more time with? These are big questions. There's no death, darling, but guess what? They are absent from your physical reality and you miss them. My mom's around, but I can't hug her, so who do I want to go hug? That's the question. So I offer these questions to you with an open heart. My mom's around. I can't take her antique shopping. And I wanted to before she left. So now what do I do? Well, do I take myself antique shopping? Probably. Do I take my children? Do I take my friend? How do I make up that time? How do I connect? Right? What do I do? Okay, those are my questions for you tonight. They're big questions, right? So let's light our candle as we celebrate union. I would love to hug my mom one more time. She's a really good hugger. Some people hug their parents and they remember that a lot. I have two things I remember with my mom that are not hugs. Isn't that funny? One is I used to hold the sides of her face and kiss her forehead and just inhale her. And my mom didn't wear a lot of perfume, so it was just her smell. And the other thing I remember was I would lay in her lap. You know? Like she would sit like this and I would just lay in her lap. And I could feel kind of the rise and fall of her chest. So I don't remember big like bear hugs all the time. That wasn't our way. But I do remember just kissing her forehead. I would always like hold the sides of her face and just kiss her forehead. And I remember just laying In her lap a lot. What do you remember? What's important to you tonight? Okay, so let's take our perfume. We made you a spray perfume because I just think spray perfumes sometimes are even more magical. And the Black Wedding is rose, geranium, patchouli, which I love, jasmine, which I love, ladanum, which I love for power, and then pomegranate and primrose. So a little bit on my wrist for what I do, a little bit at my third eye for what I know, a little bit at my ankles to bless my steps. Oh, and my mom's hands. I took so many pictures of our hands together. I did, and I'm so glad I did. And she and I, my mom, it's funny, the last thing, when I walked into the room and she was crossing, I sat at the end of the bed and I held her feet. And my mom and I have the exact same feet. Mine are just smaller, but the toenails and the arches and everything. I mean, if you looked at her feet and my feet, we have the exact same feet. And sometimes I sit and just look down at my feet and think about her and just holding her little feet, rubbing her feet. It's so good. Aren't these sweet little things to remember tonight? Hold your mama's feet, kiss her forehead, lay in her lap, hug, hug, hug. I will tell you this too, and then we're gonna dive into our ceremony. One thing death has taught me is that touch is really important, and some people don't get touched unless you touch them. I know this sounds ridiculous. Do you ever think about that? Like, how many people hug your parents, hug your kids, hug your friends if you don't? So I've become touchy-feely. Huggy, touchy, mwah, kissy, cheeks, forehead, holding, leaning, holding hands, holding feet. How many people? Hug your people. Who hugs them if you don't? And people aren't going to go, hey, could I have a hug? Because it's like, it's weird. People don't say that, but it's like, how many people hug you when like, today, how many times have you been hugged? Just a question. Hug your people. Okay. My mom and I had a complicated relationship. We had a complicated relationship. I am not an easy person to love. I'm bossy. And I'm opinionated. I was not an easy child. I'm rebellious. I hate rules, and I don't appreciate people who make them or enforce them. I question authority. That didn't make me an easy child. I'm easy to love. I'm not easy to raise. So I questioned everything. So it makes me kind of shitty sometimes. So it wasn't like my mom and I were like, oh, besties. I'm a Leo sun with a Sagittarius moon and a Libra rising. So I come in a really nice package. And then the rest of it happens. Difficult. Okay, so let's celebrate difficulty tonight. Oh, if you give me a rule, I will break it. Sorry. I am never going to be that person who's like, I'm just nice all the time, and I'm so friendly, and I don't try to tell people what to do, and I'm lovable, but man, I'm a handful and a basket full of F-bombs. Speaking of which, let's make incense. My parents would have appreciated it if I was more quiet. I just have a mouth. Yeah. Hug your people, man. I do. I have a mouth. It's only quiet while I'm sleeping. It's only closed while I'm sleeping. All right. So we are blending our incense first tonight. First, it's Mako and mint. This is going to allow your incense to, I'm doing this in a plastic bowl, don't judge me, but I want everything to be together, and I don't think it matters because I don't want to make our team or myself, honestly, it's a lot right now to clean dishes. So I'm mixing this in paper. This is Mako and mint. It smells really, really good. That's pure mint for prosperity, abundance, success. Also, mint is for integration. Mint is also pervasive. It will take over whatever it sees. If you grow it in your garden like I do, its roots uproot everything. So mint just teaches you to expand, okay? Then I've got cypress and rose. Cypress was planted, and so were roses, around the oracle at Delphi, which is where the original oracle in Greece was. It represents death, transformation, life, and passion. And then this is where we get in with our hands. I want you to take it, and I want you to break it. Whatever. I mean, people who tell you, oh, I'm nice all the time, or oh, I just follow all the rules, or oh, I behave myself, I'm so good, or whatever. My report cards always said, my report cards always had A's on them, and then would go, good Lord, good luck with this one. Or, you know, talks too much to her neighbors, or, you know, passes too many notes, or kisses too many boys, or whatever it was. It was just like, not well behaved. No one's going to give you an award for being best behaved. So get in there with your hands and set some intentions. Life, transformation, death, rebirth. It's all in the cycles. Expanding, becoming more of who you are. Authenticity, truth. And then pinching the herbs allows the oils to come together. The quiet kids didn't end up being really successful. Did you notice that? I remember all the quiet kids in my class, and like I don't know. God bless them, but. And then myrrh, which is the pathway of the soul, and it's also the resin of the crossroads. So then you get your myrrh out, and you kind of grind it up with your fingers, and you bless the comings and the goings, the ins and the outs, the death and the life, the youth and the, you know, the maiden and the crown. It smells really good, doesn't it? You got awards for good behavior and you were proud of it? Well, I just didn't get that, but I mean, I'm proud of you if it was good. I got awards for good grades and for winning spelling bees. No one ever gave me an award for best behavior. Whatever. I still haven't gotten an award for good behavior. Maybe though. I mean, I'm getting older, and I'm not as rebellious as I used to be. Maybe I'll get an award for good behavior. It'd be really cool if somebody made me a little certificate that said best behaved 2023 or something. And I would frame that and put that on the wall. Even if it didn't say where it came from. Okay. Now, your oil blend, Forbidden Desires. Oh, it smells so good, doesn't it? Vetiver for lucid dreaming and deep sleep. Also grounding. Rose for passion. Pomegranate for fertility. Patchouli and transformation for attraction and abundance. Now again, if you want to, be really clean about this, you can do this with a spoon, but I like to mix it with my hands. I put the myrrh in. Yeah, I did. I put everything in. You don't have to put it all in if you don't want to. Some people like to save their ingredients, but we really kind of like portioned this out because if you add essential oils to your incense, it burns better, and also it holds together better, so it's not so like, I don't know. You know your incense is done when you mush it with your hands, and it kind of keeps its shape. Do you see how it made a little hill there and it kind of kept its shape? That's how you know you have enough essential oil. And then let's test it. Just a little bit. Put a little bit on my magic spoon. Some of you have too. We never have sirens. You siren and bless the siren, whatever it's for. Oh, look. It worked. Yeah. Is the talk unnecessary? I don't know. It always seemed really important to me to talk to my neighbors. And pass notes. Nobody passes notes now because they're on Snapchat. I always ask my kids, like, do you pass notes? And they're like, what's a note? What's a note? No, we snap. I loved notes. And I would fold my notes. You know what I mean? Like, I would fold it and then I would make it into a little envelope. Did you ever do that where you would, like, put the point into the bottom of it? And then I would get in trouble and the teacher would read my note. Now, the best part about having a plastic bowl is it also works as a as an instrument for getting your incense into your container neatly without spilling. Almost there. And as it's going in, I'm just sending blessings to this creation I've made for renewal, passion, life, new beginnings, poor behavior. Honoring my light, honoring my shadow. My light is so great. It really is. My light is loving and healing and beautiful and innocent and believes the best in everybody. And my shadow is party town and judgmental and sometimes shitty. And I'm all those things. Talkative. Grieving, sad, happy, bitter, joyful. And I love all those parts of me. Some days are happy and some days are heavy. And that's okay. I'm not perfect. But, you know, I'm like becoming a really good version of me, I think. Like kind of the best version I think I've been. But that's the whole point, right? Is to like keep getting better. I think I'm better than I was a couple of years ago. I'm definitely more aware of who I am. And I have better boundaries. I'm not quite as fun as I was when I was young. But when you're young, you don't know. You know, I was too trusting and now I'm like more aware and I get into less trouble, but I'm more mindful. And I think I'm able to be there for the people I love in more powerful ways than I've ever been, which is really cool. And I'm a better parent just because I'm more, like way more connected, way more embodied, way more in the moment and present. And so these are all good things. Again, if people are like, I don't know, I ask people sometimes, like, what's your shadow? And they're like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm too, you know, stressed. And I'm like, that's not a shadow. Like, your shadow, I want to know where it gets shitty. And if you don't know, then you need to do a little work. But your shadow is not you being a perfectionist and you being too stressed out. That's not a shadow. Look, I have too much to fill my container. Does anybody want the rest of my incense that I made tonight? The first person to say yes, I'm going to send you the rest of what's in my bowl in a little packet because I overfilled my container. And it would be nice to share it. Does anybody want it? That's enough. Like, it's probably like, I don't know, 10, 15 burns. Okay, Barry Cheryl wants it. Got it. Great. Yeah, it's probably actually more than that. I would say that's probably a... And then what I'm also going to give you is I'm going to take my notebook that I blended it on, which is my wedding vows that I'm about to recite to you. And so you're getting the actual incense from my wedding vows that I wrote for tonight. So Team SG, this is for Barry Cheryl. Okay. What we're going to do now is We have a couple more things to do tonight. If you have your candle and you're burning it and you have your box and you want to do this step, are we okay? You can take just a pinch of your incense and put it inside your box if you want to. One of the things I want to do is I want to honor and acknowledge the guardians of the four directions with a little bit of wax inside my hope chest, okay? So here's how I'm going to do that. So this is west in my room, so I'm going to honor and welcome the guides and guardians of the east tonight into our ceremony space. Just a little bit of wax in the east of my box. New doorways, new possibilities, new beginnings. Okay? Honoring the guides and the guardians of the south, creativity, passion, strength, transformation. Honoring and welcoming the guides and the guardians of the west, healing, renewal, love. Making sure it's right there in the west. And then honoring and welcoming the guides and guardians of the north, protection, perseverance, presence. You don't have to do that, but I like doing things like that. One day if you had this box down, it'll be really, really cool to tell the person, like, that's wax from my Sow-wen ceremony. Honoring the four directions, and it just kind of anchors the moment and the tools, okay? Now, this chest is meant to be used by you. It has a real obsidian skull on it. My key is somewhere, and I have to make sure I put it with my tools and... Don't lose your key. I'm going to put my key on my keychain, actually, because it actually does have a functional lock. What I'm going to tell you about this box is it's a hope chest. Because in the old times, people didn't just marry each other. They had to collect things to kind of sell off their daughter. We called it a dowry in my culture. And it was usually animals. My dad used to call me a 2 cow because in Greece, if you had a well-behaved daughter, she was worth 1 cow, and if you had a poorly behaved daughter, she required 2 cows, and I was kind of a 2 cow. Judge it if you will. It's how the culture goes. What we're going to do is we're going to put our garnet inside of our box as part of our wedding dowry tonight. That I am grounded, I'm stable, and I'm worthy of love. I'm also going to put my little peach in here because it represents the, this tree tried so hard to grow this peach, and it's been on my tree since May of this year, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months. So it tried really hard to grow this, and I just want to honor the beauty of life and also the cycles of birth and death. I'm going to put my Persephone ring in here. Just honoring my ability to make and hold commitments and also my worthiness of being held in commitment. I kept this too. We made these little glass gems that say Moonchild on it, and the moons are so important to me. So I'm also putting my Moonchild bebop. I saved it to put in here as part of my dowry. You can put anything else in here that you want. Other tools, like I said, if you have I have a little leftover sprig of cypress that I didn't crush, and a little rose petal, so I'll put that in here too. And that's what my little box of treats looks like. And then you can keep adding to this and gift it, you know, to somebody in your lineage who will look back on that gift. I may have put too much wax on there, but I'll fix that later. Who will look back on this box and this ceremony and be so grateful that they received your dowry box. Okay, now for the wedding. You ready? Again, I'm marrying you to you tonight, but I want you to think about it as the union of Persephone and Hades. And I would like for you to close your eyes while I recite these vows for you in our sacred circle. We are gathered here today to unite the two sides of your energy, the princess of spring and the king of winter, in holy matrimony before those we love, alive or in the spirit world. We stand tonight, we love tonight, we hold each other tonight, and we acknowledge tonight all that has brought us here from where we have been and all that represents where we are going. And so you can repeat after me. I take you, Persephone, to represent my light, my beauty, my youth, my innocence. And I take you, Hades, to represent my darkness, my rebellion, my temptation, and my ability to be the temptress. Tonight we integrate both sides, and we honor this union. On the evening of Sow-wen and All Saints' Day, together we say, Amen, Aho, and so it is. Amen, Aho, so it is. I take you. It's kind of fun too if you have your little pomegranate and you put your 6, because we're done with our October tools, to put your 6 little garnets from your kit in your pomegranate and put that inside too. What a story you'll have to tell one day when this box gets handed down. Oh, what stories you will tell. And what stories will be told about you? Do you ever think about that? I mean, you won't be around in physical form, but you'll be, I imagine you'll be around to hear them and see them. Sometimes when I need a laugh, I think about the stories. Did you hear about your grandmother? Has anyone told you about Athena? I'll just be wherever I am going. Yeah. That part's not true. That part's true. I found her notebooks. I couldn't read them, but I found them. You know, you're a lot like her. It'll be true for you too. Have you heard about your Aunt Lori? No, tell me more. Okay. Now, let's activate our grid. We have 3 stones on the grid that represent Persephone, which is morganite, almandine garnet, and flower agate. And we have 3 stones that represent Hades, right? Which is our numite, our obsidian, and then our zircon. So this grid represents your light and your darkness. I was thinking about you, Lori de Jesus. Oh, it'll be so fun. Okay. Oh, here's my key. Look. Look. Watch me lock that thing and not be able to open it. The incense stuck in my fingers. I love it. Okay. We begin at the quartz point. We call in, expand this energy of Sow-wen and Beltane for our highest good as we integrate the energies of light and shadow. And we begin in the east. I call in red quartz for the magnification of energies of integration and also divine balance and grounding. And back to our center generator, which is all about protection and stability. And this is tourmalinated quartz, by the way, so there's black tourmaline in there. And then out to zircon. First mineral on the planet, old as time, calling in deep wisdom and also manifestation, back to protection. And then out to numite, the wizard stone, to call in our deepest magic and back to protection in the center. Out to red quartz for expanding energies of protection and grounding, and back to grounding and protection. A little magnetite here to attract, see it? To attract what we seek. And our divine soul union with others, and back to protection. Out to morganite for divine love that we deserve, and back to protection. Out to garnet to ground us into our manifestations, and back to protection. Out to flower agate for compassion. That light side of us always brings compassion and self-love. back to our center generator for protection, out to that little magnetite here again for calling in what we seek, deserve, and desire. Oh, let me go to quartz first. Out to red quartz for expansion of energies of protection and grounding, and back to protection, and then into that magnetite for attracting what we seek and desire, and back to protection. Out to obsidian for clearing anything that isn't serving us, and back to protection. Let's just do the 4 quartz points one more time just to anchor all of those energies at the 4 directions, because I think I might have forgotten this little dude over here. So we finish the web and back to the center. Now a nice touch, because it's Sow-wen, is to take your quartz point into the flame, adding energies of fire, and back to the center. That will wash off. But it's kind of cool to bring that energy of fire into the grid. We call these energies in on this high holiday from all directions, recognizing the veil is thin, the ancestors are here, all energies, all directions anchored and grounded, and we give thanks for magic on its way, for all that has been, all that will be, for integrating the light side of ourselves that's easy to love and the dark side of ourselves that's easy to be seduced by, recognizing that we are the blend of both. And together we say, Amen, aho, and so it is. Amen, aho, and so it is. You can't overactivate a grid. You can do it again and again and again, as much as you want, and bring it back. Can't overdo it, darling. And then look, you wipe the ash off. You can't burn your quartz. And if your hands don't have ash and herbs on them, you have not done this correctly. I'm just kidding. That's how I like to do it. I now pronounce you self and self, light and shadow. Long may you reign. Long may you reign. I would not mind bringing my quartz point to the screen at all, and I think it's a great idea for those of you who did not have your tools for tonight. So you just bring your quartz point to my point. Let me do it on this camera. Bring your point to my point. I think I'll hold it between my 2 hands like that. You can see my incensey fingers. I'll send it to you. I'm in a home, so it is. Yes, darling. I'm also going to bring the quartz point to this necklace because I am giving this away. Won't that be a centerpiece for a grid? Okay. So we're going to release our guides and guardians. It is time. It's always a fast hour. We had a lot to do tonight. And you can also blow out your candle. And again, just giving thanks to the guardians and the gatekeepers of the 4 directions for holding our space. Releasing the guides and guardians of the north. Thank you for patience, peace, protection, presence in the north. We release you with gratitude. Thanking and releasing at sunset here. The guides and guardians of the west. Thank you for healing, renewal, release. Thanking and releasing the guides and the guardians of the south. Passion, transformation, courage. Thanking and releasing the guides and the guardians of the east. New beginnings, new possibilities, new visions. Thanking and releasing all of the ancestors to the realms from which you've come this evening. And so it is. A proper rite mass, as it shall be at the end of a really good ceremony. Did you have fun tonight? Yeah, the Herkimer cluster. So if you get your tools for next month, not next month, next high holiday, it's like, holy shit, Yule is Thursday, December 21st this year. we will be live with you. Jared is going to help me show you the tools. We're making a wreath, a really beautiful crystal wreath. We've never done this as a high holiday craft, just like we did the incense tonight. So if you're like, oh, I didn't know there were tools, some of you are new. Your code tonight is, I always forget. We'll let you know. Karen will tell you in the feed what you have a code today for 24% off at sagegoddess.com. Wait for it.
It's bad.
It's Veil. I never remember the codes. That's like my one thing I can't remember, but thank God there are other people here who do remember them. So what you get in your toolkit for next month is, and again, if you get it before midnight, you get to enter to win this necklace, which by the way is worth $1,500 when I bought it. It's been in my collection for quite a few years. You get the chain too, which is sterling silver. The Herkimer diamond mine in New York is closed, and they're not mining crystals like this. And this is solid in sterling silver and is open on the back. So it's worth like $2,000. It's heavy. I feel like Flavor Flav with my like clock on, but the energy is so incredible. And if you wear it long like me, it's going to hit your solar plexus, which is super cool. There's no code for that. It's just purchasing your winter solstice tools before midnight. So you get your wreath and your cypress and your pine cones. Do you have the finished one for me to show them? You get your, oh, it's right behind me. You get your sari ribbon to make this. Our whole team was so excited about it. Isn't that cute? So that will be like what you hang on your door or in your sacred space, and you get literally everything to make it. You get all the little quartz points and the 2 stars on your chains with the lobster claw. We're going to decorate. You get all the cypress and the pine cones, like literally everything here. You get the ribbons, you get the Herkimer diamond, and you get the chain to hang it by, because the wreath is a sacred symbol of winter solstice. Plus you get 3 big tree essential oil infused Palo Santo. You get your candle, and which is called Hearthside Magic and smells like winter. And then you also get your perfume. And
Does not seem to be.
Which I don't have your perfume, but you do get a full-size roller perfume, and it's stunning. Everything is designed to make you smell like winter. And again, your code is VEIL for 24% off at sagegoddess.com. And we're going to make this together. In the old days, I used to make these. Do you remember up in San Francisco, I used to make them, and I would sell them one by one on the website. So now I just want you to make your own. And I'm going to teach you how I used to do it. So it'll be really super fun. And literally, you're getting everything you need except the glue. You got to bring your own glue. If you don't own a glue gun, we can't be friends. Visit your local Michaels or Hobby Lobby to get that, or Amazon. You need a glue gun. Okay. The notes in the perfume, I can tell you. Hold on. I can tell you that. The notes in the perfume, and this is on the website too, by the way. Chestnut, pine, fir, spruce, clove, cedarwood, and ilemi, which is a super upper chakra for new beginnings, new cycles, and coming close to the traditional new year. So those are the notes. And then in the candle, it's pine, juniper, clove, chestnut, oak moss, and amber. And then the Palo Santo sticks are infused with, you get one that's infused with balsam fir, one that's infused with pine, and one that's infused with cinnamon. And they're all infused with real essential oils. So when you burn them, the party trick with our infused Palo Santo, this is the cinnamon one, you can immediately tell it, is they burn better. So normally Palo Santo kind of puts itself out right away. This one stays lit until you blow it out, which is kind of cool. We soak them in the oils. And then it has more smoke. So usually there's very little smoke that comes from Palo Santo. This one keeps going. So if you let it burn itself out, you'll have all of it. And Palo Santo is antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal, very healing. And you get the 3, and they're kind of wrapped up in a little bundle. And you can easily tell which is which. And you know what I do? My party trick for the holidays? I throw them in my fireplace. Have you ever done that? Light your fireplace, if you have a fireplace, and put one of these on the fire. Whole house, Palo Santo and pine, Palo Santo and cinnamon, Palo Santo and fir. Like, you will lose your mind. People will be like, what is that smell in your house? And you're like, it's my divine little secret. But it's not a secret, it's Palo Santo. Are you ready? So go shopping, sagegoddess.com. Your code is VEIL. Thank you to Team SG in front of the scenes, Jared, and behind the scenes, Karen, and also Merlin and our product team, who all of us collectively spend so much time putting these incredible tools together and designing them. I remember sitting in the room and going, we're making wreaths for Yule, and that was probably 6 months ago, and now I get to sit in front of you and show you this beautiful creation. So it takes a village to make all that magic for you, and we enjoy it. Blessed Samhain, blessed All Saints' Day. Tomorrow is the return of the souls of the children and the young ones who have crossed. Blessings to those of you for whom that is an important day as well. The days of the dead.